Welcome to Access Asia. I'm Yuka Huaye, and here's what's coming up in this show. From a drastic makeover of New Delhi to the notable absence of Xi Jinping, the G20 summit raised questions even before it started, as the host India seeks to assert itself as a major global player. The most pitiful event in human history, the words of the new head of Johnny's and Associates, as the Japanese talent agency formally recognizes decades of sexual abuse at the hands of its late founder. And you'll be hearing this a lot over the next few weeks. As the Rugby World Cup kicks off in France, we'll take a deep dive into the origins of this iconic chant by the All Blacks. It's been described as the most high-profile event to be held in India in years. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government allocated more than €100 million to host the G20 summit and reportedly spent a further €460 million to spruce up the capital, New Delhi, demolishing slums and replacing street stalls with statues and flower pots. Posters for the international conference have been ubiquitous across the country. But all this has also stirred up a fair amount of controversy, while geopolitical tensions cast a shadow over the summit itself. Mohan Kumar is a professor of diplomatic practice at O.P. Jindal Global University and a former Indian ambassador to France. He joins us now from New Delhi. Dr. Kumar, thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, India has promoted this 18th G20 summit more than any other hosts before it. Why is it so important?
I think it's a combination of factors. I think India set for itself three goals. One, it wanted to showcase a country that is in full transition. We are still a poor developing country, but I think we've become the third largest economy or the fifth largest economy, bidding fair to become the third largest economy. Sure, there is a lot of poverty and so on, but I think we are in the right direction. And as you rightly said in your introductory remarks, after a long time, the last time I remember something like this happening was the Commonwealth Games in the 80s. And since then, this is probably or arguably the biggest gathering of world leaders in India. So we set for ourselves three goals. One, showcasing India in terms of tourism, trade, and investment. Second, to really be the voice of the global South. And third, to be a bridge between the North and the South. So to answer your question, it's a combination of factors, genuine pride that we are going in the right direction. As I said, I think the glass is half full, but everybody agrees that India has made huge strides in economic development, particular pride in what the technology aspect is achieved in India in terms of the unified payment interface, the digital public infrastructure that we have got in India now. So a combination of factors, really, and it's all coming together in this G20 summit.
A dinner invitation sent out to world leaders attending this summit came from the president of Bharat. Is India changing its name?
I think it's a bit of a non-issue in my view. I just don't know the answer because I don't think we've had an official decision. The Indian constitution says India/Bharat. So frankly, it's not a big deal in that sense. Many Hindi speakers will already use Bharat in the northern part of India, and those who speak English like me or from the south like me would tend to use India. I just hope that this option continues to be given to Indians. But so far, that seems a bit of a non-controversy, really.
Now, the massive cleanup drive for New Delhi in the run-up to the event has also sparked anger among some residents, with many saying that they were evicted from their homes and cleared off the streets. Was it all necessary, do you think?
Well, every time we've had a conference, and we've had two conferences much before this. One is the non-aligned movement of the 1981, and then, of course, the Commonwealth conference that we had. There has been a fair degree of investment in infrastructure, and that investment in infrastructure has actually kept the cities in good stead, which is why I don't entirely share the point of view expressed by some people that this is all money down the tube. It is not. It is actually infrastructure. And if India can only spruce up their capitals when leaders come to their country, so be it. We should be actually doing it every other day, frankly. But if that is the way we are going to do it, so be it. As for the eviction, it is my sense that it is a small number of people who are arguably encroaching on government land. I cannot believe this is happening to anybody who's got a valid property document. So it is those who are near the conference center, and this is a brand new conference center that India has had to build. So if that happens, it is possible that some people have been evicted, but I doubt very much it is by people who have valid property documents.
Well, Ambassador Kumar, thank you for speaking with us once again.
Thank you for having me.
Japan's embattled boy band empire, Johnny's and Associates, has formally acknowledged that its late founder had sexually assaulted hundreds of aspiring teenage pop singers for decades. In a press conference that lasted more than 4 hours, Johnny Kitagawa's niece announced she had stepped down as president of the company, though she would remain on the board and retain her 100% stake in the agency. The new president faced a grilling over allegations that he had also harassed and abused boys. Catherine Keddy-Clifford has more.
A solemn gesture from management at talent agency Johnny's in recognition and apology to victims of late founder Johnny Kitagawa's abuse. After Kitagawa's niece resigned as president, the man chosen to take the reins was revealed. Noriyuki Higashiyama, a J-pop star, he himself facing allegations of abuse published in this book. When questioned on this by journalists, he responded, "I don't remember clearly. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't." Higashiyama acknowledged he may have done things as a teen or in his 20s that he wouldn't do now. He described the scandal around Kitagawa's abuse as, quote, the most pitiful incident in human history.
I am determined to devote my life to tackling this problem.
While victims reacted positively to the company's symbolic apology, the choice of president didn't go down well.
It felt like a dream to hear Johnny and Associates holding a press conference regarding fact-finding, relief, and compensation for the victims. However, for a top company in Japan to pick Mr. Higashiyama, who was covering up stories from that time, it is very disappointing.
The company's actions come a week after third-party investigators found Kitagawa abused hundreds of boys and young men over several decades. It also found that a lack of media coverage had protected Kitagawa, who died in 2019, having never faced criminal charges. The investigation was commissioned by the company after a BBC documentary earlier this year sparked national outrage and drew criticism from UN human rights experts.
France is hosting the Rugby World Cup, and whether you're an avid fan or not, you're probably familiar with the fierce haka performance that the New Zealand national team performs before matches. The haka is meant to intimidate the opponents and invoke the god of war, and has existed since long before the All Blacks started chanting it on the rugby pitch. Inka Oyatade has the story.
It can be powerful, emotional, and terrifying. The spine-chilling haka performed by the All Blacks before kick-off is designed to strike fear into opponents. It's been performed by New Zealand's rugby team since 1905. In Auckland, this young team is perfecting their haka. They're practicing under the watchful eye of the club's president, Buck Shelford. The rugby legend was captain of the All Blacks from 1987 to 1990.
Kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Kamate, kamate, kaora, kaora. Kamate means you're dead. Kamate. Okay? Kamate, and that's why rugby have used that for years, because rugby's about winning and losing. You win, you live, you die, you lose. Okay? Tēnei, Tēnei te tangata.
Buck Shelford is considered the father of the modern haka. He revolutionized the ceremonial dance at the end of the 1980s, making it a centerpiece of the All Blacks. And now he's passing it on to the next generation.
It's like gets you pumped, kind of, or like ready to do something.
To trace the origins of the haka, you'll have to leave Auckland and go to New Zealand's volcanic region, where Maori people have lived for centuries. Tourists come to this cultural centre in Rotorua, run by the indigenous group, who make up a fifth of New Zealand's population.
So this is a very diluted version of once was a traditional art form to prepare, as I said, the warrior for battle. But now we've taken it and softened it a lot. You see the bulging of the eyes and the protrusion of the tongue. That's the inner spirit of the ancestor coming out.
The dance was once used before war, but now it's performed on a variety of occasions, including weddings and birthdays. It's accompanied New Zealanders during their highs and lows. In 2019, in the wake of a terrorist attack in Christchurch, a group of young people performed a haka in tribute of the 51 people killed. Hugh Drake has also felt the moving force of a haka. When the former social sciences teacher retired after teaching for 37 years in an all-boys school, he received this powerful send-off from 1,700 students.
Brings it back. Yeah. It's very powerful. The ones that nearest you are looking you right in the eye. And facing the haka is something which I'll never forget.
Haka cries continue to ring out across the country for what has become a central part of New Zealand's cultural identity.
That's it for this edition of Access Asia. Do stay tuned for more world news here on France 24.